As a matter of fact, he was standing on the first floor watching the parade.
Using unprecedented modern-day digital computer technology, Larry Rivera presents scientific evidence which in any court of law would exonerate Lee Oswald of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Rivera meticulously takes the reader through the intricacies of digital overlays which prove that Lee was standing in the book depository doorway while the assassination was taking place, that the backyard photos were cleverly manufactured to frame him, and how the 3D program Blender can recreate Dealey Plaza was on 22 November 1963, so we can finally determine where JFK was really shot that fateful day. As if this were not enough, Rivera reveals what really happened on Elm Street as recently transcribed interviews with the motorcycle escort officers who were closest to JFK that day describe a heretofore unknown version of the events that shook our nation to its core and affected the history of the world forever. Don't miss it. moonrockbooks.com. This is Jim Fetzer, your ad hoc host for the evening. Gary King missing in action. We hope he'll join us before the show is over. With a new JFK Show number 207, we have the regular lineup, including Larry, Don, and Mike, who's here often enough to constitute one of the team. So Larry and Mike have been discussing a number of issues related to some of Mike's observations, particularly about early frames, Jack's right arm, the shadow area beneath the arm, where it appears as though somehow his reaction to what may have been an early shot or to the throat shot, which of course passed through the windshield, may have been altered. So we're going to pursue it from there. Larry, why don't you begin?
Yeah, I wanna just introduce Mike again. This is the third installment of us having Mike here as our photographic expert, bona fide photographic expert who has all of his credentials, okay? So whatever Mike says and whatever Mike observes, in an 8mm film, due to his extensive education and extensive experience on this, I would have to take as gospel, Jim. So, without further ado, I just wanted
Well, Larry, it's because of Mike's expertise that I'm particularly interested if he finds any anomalies in the frames he's studying that differ from the Costella frames, which we have reason to believe is the best available version, because that would be an important finding in and of itself. It would show something is wrong with one or the other and would be worth pursuing further.
Of course, because as we all know, a Costella version is the one that's been adjusted for pincushion distortion, aspect ratio, and central. It has been adjusted in all these different ways so that we get the center, the image, everything is centered in a way.
And the sprocket hole images, yes, Larry.
And sprocket hole images, of course.
You go right ahead.
Yeah, okay, so I'll do some screen share, and I'm sure Mike will be able to see it. Mike, just tell me where you want to start.
Well, kind of to continuing what we were talking about last week, see pretty much constant alteration from basically Zapruder from frame 153 when he brushes back his hair, and I've been going back to people who were right there in Dealey Plaza.
You want me to go back to 153? I'll do that. Okay, go ahead. Keep talking.
That's what people say he does, and actually he does it the beginning of the Towner film when they're rounding the corner. So what we focused on last week was basically from 153 where he brushes his hair back, and then what people have been saying is a lot different things, a lot different motions that he did that are not in the Z film, and that led me to look at those frames that only, when the car is pretty far back, just as you see the limo for the first time in the Z film, and
Mike, I just wanted to make a small correction. We have it on screen right now. I don't know if you can see that.
I can see that.
It appears that his brushing his hair is frame 137, 138. And I want to mention that Roy Lewis talked about his action precisely because at this point in motorcade, as it's turning, he's practically right in front of Roy Lewis's position in the TSPD doorway.
Yeah, and you can see. I think he does it twice in the Towner film. I was just looking at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're seeing it right here on 138, 139.
Okay, it might have been twice that he does it because and then right at the end when he does it again.
Actually, something I just noticed. There's a very quick. From one frame, okay, watch this, 140 to 141 and 142, his hand moves in a very, very quick, which I would have to say, impossible speed, from being up here. You see that?
Yeah.
And, and how many, we know that each frame is 18.3 seconds, am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, in the extant version, yeah, sure.
0.183, so that's in and of itself, extremely fast for that type of movement. But then again, we knew that the frames have been removed. But go ahead, Mike.
Well, right about there is when I've read and during all my research and other people's research that when they started hearing what they thought were firecrackers, which of course were shot.
Yeah. Diversionary shots, and diversionary sounds like Beverly Brunson said.
Yeah. And then basically from there on out, it would be pretty easy to do, is his hand is in front of his face the entire time, which would hide any facial expressions of what the hell is that. JFK, of course, was in World War II. He would have known what gunfire sounded like. Also, Connolly is really blurry. Who also was hit. So basically, we're either they're hiding the hit to the back, which some people have said the president reached back to his back. Others said his hands went up above his head. We covered that, which I believe is when he gets right below the police.
Reaching back, of course, would be a response to having been shot in the back. It was a very shallow shot, 5.5 inches below the collar, just to the right of the spinal column. Only went in about as far as the second knuckle on your little finger. And then, of course, you're talking about a response to the throat shot. So, this is all coherent. I agree with Larry about frames having been removed, or we wouldn't have these motions that are too fast.
Yeah, the jerky motions. We got frame 183 up on the screen, just so.
Right.
Well, and also to tie in your book, Larry, that I've been reading every day, is again a fascinating story about the day of the assassination when I forget the guy's name, but the NBC News affiliate had Gene Hill on. And Tom Whalen.
Yeah.
And she had said, among other things, their shots were coming from across the street at the Grassy Knoll, but also she heard 2 shots, which of course a lot of people said they did, which is going to be two hits, either to, JFK was hit in the back and also in the throat, as well as Connolly. But and then the NBC guy said cut it, but those 2 shots, it should be 2 reactions. And I think that's what they're covering up as one or more reactions, or whether to the hit to the back or misses that we know hit the pavement and hit the grass. So
this is frame 193, and his hand is blocking his face here. And I don't know if this is what you were talking about, this crazy shadow that we see here.
Yeah.
That extends over the what do you call this? Oh my God, the chrome here on the top of the door.
Top of the door.
The trim.
I'll have to get this over to you, Larry, for next time we do this. But I've been getting as many photos of JFK in the limo, whether it was in Dallas, but especially in Dallas.
And left field, etc.
Yeah, left field, I think I sent you those as well. But his hand is always planted, his elbow is always planted on the top of that door. Because again, think about it. Raising your arm, waving doesn't seem like much of a exercise, but you keep your hand up like that, your elbow, especially if he's doing it for however long the ride was for. And of course, it's just towards the end of it. Your elbow, your shoulder is going to get tired, so he has his elbow down on the he's waving like this. So again, to get back, what I'm saying is, some of the other photos that I showed you, if his elbow is on the door, there's no way his hand could be up on his face like that. You may not seem like it, but if you show some of those other photos I sent you, you could see that his hand just won't fit up there at that angle. And then also, you would these quote impossible shadows, which anyway could hide because they're trying to get his hand stationary for this entire time, so they can have his hand in front of his face to hide it, him looking from side to side, and basically just duplicating that one look where he's waving towards the crowd, duplicating that, and then magnifying it for each frame, getting bigger and bigger as the limo is coming towards Zapruder and the camera. So it'd be pretty easy just to kind of keep that, because it's only from his chest up. They want to hide any reaction to shots, and that happens. His hand is in front of his face until it goes behind the stem sign, where we don't see anything, and then right when he comes out of the stem sign, he's grabbing at his throat. So that's a whole line of where it's probably altered.
I didn't want to sidetrack you here, but what's your opinion on the reflections here on the side of the limo, which we picked up from Brunson's research. The reflections, as you can see, the motorcycle of Shaney's motorcycle being reflected perfectly. And we've had a couple of shows that we've talked about this.
Yeah, I remember that.
After the Stevens Freeway sign, you don't see any reflections.
But yeah, well, they would have shown a lot more that they didn't want to.
I know, because it was closer to Zapruder. Exactly.
And also, Zapruder didn't zoom in, but because he was already zoomed in as much as he could be, but they optically zoom in to get to hide, like we were talking about last week, to hide the wheels, which you would see slowing down, to hide other reflections, which a lot of people say people who were there right in front of that car should have been seen in the Zapruder.
Yeah, like this one right here, 234. You don't see any reflections, and go on to 255. It seems like there's some kind of blue paint over there, which was Brunson's observation here, right here on this area. Right here. And again, like you've mentioned before, the lack of the wheels. Would you say that this frame has been cropped here at the bottom, Mike?
Yeah. What are the odds that it's cropped right there where you can't see any of the wheels? And
right. That's what I'm saying. Would you say that this area here has been cropped to remove?
That's very good, Larry. Because look at the the images in the sprocket area. That suggests we ought to be seeing something in that very location where it's all blacked out.
That's right. And you see this. You see that. And it seems like,
and if you didn't have the sprocket area, you wouldn't even notice this. You just assume it was the bottom of the camera view. That's excellent, Larry.
This is right at the point where he is supposedly slowing down. Also, to go back to the Willis.
Okay, I'll give you Willis. Hold on. I'll give you Willis.
The Cuban has not put his hand up yet, but his hand is now up when you see it in the Z film now.
Okay.
But I do want Mike's expert opinion on that, because it's also missing at the top, of course, Larry, where, the same argument could be made. There's something in the sprocket hole area, but not at the top. So do you think, Mike, this is just the bottom of the field for the camera and not deliberately blacked out?
I think they deliberately blacked out the reflection in the door, and they didn't want, they cropped it so you see the wheels, or maybe some of the position of the people who were there, because they don't want people to look what we're doing now, to be able to kind of compare because I don't think they want us to know exactly where the car was.
Right.
That's a shot.
Okay. Can you guys see Willis 5 here up on the screen?
Yes.
This is what Mike's talking about. As you can see, when 202, which is equivalent to Willis 5, he's waving, okay? But here in Willis 5, he's not waving.
That's good.
So
that substantiates Mike's claim that the arm was added in.
You know, and it obviously has been heavily edited, of course, but I think that this is something that has never been,
right.
And that's why, we brought Mike in here so he can, tell us exactly what he sees in all this.
And then we have the Cuban and the Umbrella Man, of course.
Yeah, right, of course, yeah.
And the Cuban his hand is not up yet. And
right.
That's right. So you can estimate exactly which frame that would be. Which again, I guess let's see. Let me get back here.
It's surprising his hand isn't up already.
Yeah.
Okay, here's 202. Let me see. Yeah, here's 202. Okay, the Cuban is behind the Stemmons Freeway sign on, or he's not visible in the Z film. Let me give you 202, okay?
But he ought to be, Larry.
Yeah. Well, see, here's 202. Uh-oh.
Well, he's further to the right here.
Yeah, he's to the right. He's not neither Umbrella Man or Fist Pump Man here, Dark Complected Man or whatever you want to call him, are visible. Okay, but going back to what Mike has been telling us, see here where JFK, you can see him waving, Let me zoom in here, if I may. Okay, this is equivalent to Willis 5, okay? And you can see that he's waving there, all right? So that's what Mike is telling us, that's an anomaly that, and of course, nobody's ever talked about this before.
So the angle in the Willis isn't sufficient to account for the absence of the visibility of the arm.
No, I think it is. I think it's quite the contrary. Right, Mike? Isn't that your point?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the Willis film, it should be up, and it also should be more visible because he's always leading to his right, where his arms, on the limo door, and his hands extended, waving or up, and that's where he was looking. And also, I was going through some of the testimony of people again on the day, and they were yelling towards the president and to say, say hi.
I want to bring Don in here. Excuse me. I want to bring Don in here and see, what his opinion is of all this.
Well, I was listening to Black Op Radio, and they don't think the Zapruder film was altered all that much.
Okay.
And we're just watching this. I mean, it's like the more you look at it, the more it just sticks out. I mean, the people in the background. I mean, look at the little girl back there. She's almost the same size as the motorcycle cop.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So obviously the film has been tampered with. And we have Rich De La Rosa, the late Rich De La Rosa gave a pretty good breakdown of what the real Zapruder film contained. And
it's actually an appendix in the Great Zapruder Film, folks.
Yeah, Rick. Yeah, we've played that on the show. Maybe we can do that again.
Yeah, and I interviewed him about it. And of course, he'd actually seen what appears to be the unaltered film on 3 different occasions, believe it or not.
Yeah, and the limo when it came around the corner, took a huge turn, and
right.
They almost missed. He almost went up on the curb, I believe. And we don't see any of that in the extant Zapruder film. So how somebody could get up there and say that there's been maybe a frame or maybe a couple of touch-ups here and there done to it, or Jim DiEugene.
You want to see
laughable.
You want to see touch-ups? You want to see touch-ups? And I brought this up on jfkfacts.org, and my post was censored. Okay, I want to say that, I'm not allowed to post on JFK Facts because they were talking about the Croft. This is a Robert Croft. And I just want to say that Robert Croft was a missionary, a Mormon missionary, and he was in Dallas. and he went and he took some pictures. And as soon as he, he took the pictures, he was off to South America on a mission. Okay, so he sends his film over to his parents. The FBI gets wind of this. They go in and they pick up the film, and then they finally, they publish, these photographs. And I want to show you guys, because this is what I've been talking about. We've presented this many times about the African American witnesses standing on the north curb of Elm, and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, Jim, and not a single one was ever identified, all right? Not a single one of these witnesses came forth or even dared to identify themselves, okay? And don't you think they would have had a story to tell? Of course. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up here is that they presented this photograph on jfkfacts.org. Jeff Morley, okay, the so-called expert. And,
self-appointed expert.
Yeah, self-appointed expert, who wrote, a book called Our Man in Mexico City about Win Scott. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I want to point out here the alteration here of Jackie, where her hair has been extended. And maybe Mike would come in here and tell us what his opinion is here, where, okay, you can see that JFK's cheeks are already puffed, okay? And look at the reaction, Jim, okay, of JFK. And then what they did here was they extended, this is my opinion, Mike, he can tell us, what he sees here, because this is, I wanted to show Mike this photo, because this is also, following what he was saying about the right arm, okay, and if it's being waved or not. And I promised Mike that I would show this one.
There's a black blob of hair there has been added, Larry, just above her left eye and down.
And not only that, look at this big blob.
Yeah.
Right over this African.
Very good, very good, very good.
Okay, can you guys see this? Yes or no?
Yep, we see it.
Okay, now, is this alteration or not? Mike Machanska, please tell us.
What are the odds that there in each one of these photographs there's always some kind of blob and this is still for the Croft film, that's a single 35 millimeter film.
That's right.
Shot.
Tell the truth.
Yeah. The odds are astronomical that there would be all these same films. So
it's just a coincidence.
I wonder if they tried to make a little bunching up of his jacket. Of course, Jack wore custom-made shirts and jackets.
Yeah, really, to try to accommodate that shot from the back. Yeah, that's a great. I love that, Jim. Really.
It doesn't look right to me.
No, but again, look at Jackie's hair. I went.
Yeah, the hair is clearly wrong, Larry. You got a good one there. Right, that's exactly right.
And I went and I found pictures.
Like a chunk of sausage put on there.
Yeah, I went and looked at pictures of Jackie, earlier in the motorcade, and her hair was completely bilateral, perfectly. One side was exactly the same as the other. Okay. Now here you see that it's
not even the same color, Larry.
Exactly. Obviously, they airbrushed this in here to cover JFK's reaction to being shot in the back. Okay. And then I don't know why they would have added this here. What the heck was this all about?
Holding a camera?
No, I don't think so, because they both of those women are seen in the Altitude 6 photograph. They're the two women that are right above the visor of JFK's limo. Okay, if we go to the Altitude 6, those are the two women that you can see in the two African American women that are in very visible right below Women and Child and Fedora Man.
They make quite a telling point that none of these 13 witnesses was ever even identified, much less called to testify.
That's just something that I have no words to describe that, Jim. That's just.
What about the white people in the back who are waving? Were they identified?
Yes, I believe they were. And this guy went right here. Yeah. Okay, but
it's like blacks didn't exist in Dallas in 1960.
Exactly. That is unconscionable, Jim. And don't you think these people knew that the limo stopped? Okay, that Cheney and that Hargis dismounted and ran in between the two limos.
Right.
That Jackson rode his bike up the
Right.
knoll.
Right.
Okay? The 5 Secret Service agents surrounded the limo. Okay.
That's very good. That's very good, Larry.
Guns drawn. Don't you think they witnessed that? Don't you think they witnessed the limo stopping completely on Elm Street for at least 30 seconds? Don't you think they witnessed the boy picking up the piece of skull, and a Secret Service agent guy, snatching it away from him and throwing it back into the limo, desecrating, the first desecration of JFK's body at that time before he was even dead. Sorry, Jim, I get a little emotional about
No, it's good, Larry. It's all good. No, you were right spot on.
Okay, so anyway, let's go on to sorry, guys.
You're completely right, Larry. When you look at the reality versus the illusion, it's enough to piss you off. We're talking about the President of the United States, a man many of us loved.
So, Mike, what else you got for us here? You want me to go back?
But I want to leave time for you, Larry. I'm going over a lot of testimony of what people said they saw and try to piece together because, one or two people could be, exaggerated or wrong about what this was. A lot of people said his hands were above his head. He was reaching back, and it's just more proof of that something was done, and just you got to shine more light on what we can now pick apart and start piece back together what we're seeing. I want to go over again what Dina Burgioni said he saw.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
No. I mean, like in the future, because just again.
Well, I'll tell you because I write about that in my book. He talked about a spray of matter and body. He calls it a piece of body going vertically up, okay, and crossing over into many frames, not just what you see in 313 and 314, okay, where you only see a little glimpse of it, okay, and he says that it was prevalent there for at least 4, 5, 6, even 7 frames, all right, and it was something more vertical, okay.
Yeah.
That's what he was talking about. And Douglas Horn is the one that interviewed him, by the way, about that.
Yeah, that's a must-watch interview.
So anyway, we're here on 188. I wanted to point this out here because the lack of sprocket holes here, and these are frames that supposedly Grote and later found, okay, because originally these frames were not part of the Zapruder film, okay, and later on.
Well, this is where there was supposed to have been an edit made by Time Life. That's
right, okay, and you see this here, and then all of a sudden they're here. And I also wanted to talk about maybe Mike can talk to us. I want to go back to 153, and this is something that from Roy Schaefer. And Roy, I hope you're doing good. We love you. You're one of the best ever, and I followed your work and your guidance and everything. And if you go back here, okay, and you look at LBJ and the follow-up limo, forget about looking at the JFK limo, okay? And he talked about a splice, okay? And let me see if I can bring it up here. Yeah. 154, 153. Okay. Let me see here. As you can see here in the background, those cars are moving. And you see this here? All of a sudden here, this happened. And as you can see, you see how this car here is all of a sudden on top of some kind of shadow? Yeah. You see? Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, here's 154, and here's 155. You see this?
Yeah.
Right here.
Difference.
Yeah, okay. This is what Roy and this is like, I mean, this is pretty obvious. Okay, can you guys? Okay, and then all of a sudden it's not there. You know, now what happens here, Mike? You know, if you can, are you looking at this, Mike?
Yeah. There's no practical reason for that. It's an impossible shadow.
That's right. Well, tell us about it, Mike.
Well, it's more and more. I was talking about the last two shows is that when they could paint over something.
You see this wave. You see this wave type of anomaly here that I'm pointing at. You know, it's like something very, very strange is going on here, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the first time I saw that. The question is why? Like, what are they hiding? Are they hiding the
I know what they're hiding. They're hiding LBJ ducking. No, that's the Secret Service car. You know that LBJ's Secret Service car. You know, because this is LBJ's car right here. But this is very strange, and I want to credit again Roy Schaefer for discovering this. Okay, and it's very, very strange, and I want to know what this is all about.
Mike had something he wanted to add. Go ahead, Mike.
Sorry, what frame is that right there?
155. You go 154, 155, and 156. Okay. You see this?
One of the things I read today were Bonnie Ray Williams, after JFK brushed back his hair, which was at 153,
right
about here, he heard a loud shot. That's what he said he heard. What else? As did other people. I think this is pretty much the first kill zone, right?
Good.
Now, again, just to get a little sidetrack here too. Just thinking about how many people were there. Look how many people were on Houston, and of course, the easiest shot would have been to shoot JFK when he's coming towards the TSBD on Houston. But think about how many people. There's two directions of people that would have been looking at him then, and two directions of people, maybe more, if you include people on Elm who could be photographing him. Right after that turn, and of course, the turn was wide, so that may screw things up for it to kind of the shooters to readjust, or maybe even that first kill zone. Maybe this is actually the second one, or the first one was paused. But anyway, like right about here would be where everyone is looking. Just think about it, everyone on Houston. Everyone is looking towards the president. So, and they know that. So they all this kind of crossfire of photography that could have happened if he was shot on Houston would have been a nightmare. Now everything is kind of going away. There was maybe two sets in the Daltex building, and I think this is where they were setting off fire. Dozens of people said they were setting off firecrackers as the turn went. So this is realistically when they would start shooting.
Mike, I've just zoomed into that area, and it's so incredibly pathetic here how they seem to have just pasted the car onto that image there, onto that frame. It's Jim. I definitely want your opinion on this.
I agree with you. There's something very artificial. I would say there was something about the original they had to conceal or cover up, and they did it in a very awkward way.
Well, I mean, my point was that I think Greer would have slowed down in this first kill zone, stopping all the cars. Each one behind they had to slow down as well. So maybe that car stopped, so they had to photogenically push it over, and the only way they could do that, again, hiding the wheels is what they're blacking out the
and look at how the windshield and the roof here disappear. I'm pointing. You guys see this? Completely disappear. You don't see, the side.
Yeah. She's not on the car. She looks to be in front of the windshield when she ought to be behind it. And
in front and behind, like the Algin 6. Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
I love it. So anyway, I think this is very, very. Don, what do you talk to us?
Yeah, just another example. And I'm sorry, guys. I've had kind of getting over a cold this week, so I've had some lung issues and whatnot. Starting to feel a little bit better, but yeah, there's definitely some hanky-panky going on in this frame, as you were pointing out.
For those who insist that that the Z film has not been altered, Jim, you know, like Mr.
Yeah,
Grove
ridiculous.
and Mr. Thompson et al.
Well, you were talking about the impossible speed of
No, but look at this edit line. Look at the. I'm going to run the mouse pointer along this entire edit line. Look at all the way across the frame.
Ah, very good. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the whole.
Larry. Very good.
Okay. Mike.
Yeah. No, this is a
You're
first.
supposed to be the expert, not me, Mike.
No, I'm.
All right.
I was always looking at where I thought the shots were going towards, you know, the limo, but it looks like.
So what's so particular about frame 155, Jim? What's going on here? Is there like a much earlier shot that we don't know about? Some kind of action that has never been defined? Something.
Well, Larry, what frame do you think that the tag shot took place?
Oh wow, it's hard to say because you don't see but it was, I don't know, maybe the 180s. I'm just throwing.
Yeah, ballpark. Yeah, obviously you're not going to be able to tell.
Yeah, 180s. Something like that.
And of course, we had the shot that hit the chrome strip above the windshield. So
yes, and the one that went, like Jim has pointed out last week, the one that went through the cushion, the back seat cushion.
right. Well, that's the shot that hit him in the back.
Yeah.
So, all right, fellas, we ready? Let me get a little more light going.
Who's that?
Gary finally.
Gary, we're already in the middle of the show, my friend.
Okay, keep on rolling.
Yeah, you join us, friend.
We've already flipped. Hey, we've already flipped over a couple of stand.
We even got the show number right, Gary.
Yeah.
207, just for you.
All right. Hold on.
Sand dials or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, yeah, a lot of interesting stuff going on here. I want to go over here and because again, Roy Schaefer is really did a lot of really important work on this, and we talked about here Joey Brem and his father, but I want to look at Malcolm Summers, okay? And because we've done this, Jodie Foster up here, but Malcolm Summers does a somersault here within, I don't know, maybe half a second, And again, here's Botham, and here's Alchins, okay? Okay, right here. This is Malcolm Summers, okay? And again, we see something covering up the sprocket hole, okay? But look at this. Look at this. Look at the movement here in what is this? 0.183, You see this here? You see this guy right here? This is Malcolm Summers, And he is, within a couple of frames, he's already done, this so-called.
Yeah, him and the little driver.
You're completely right.
Completely, impossible. I think this makes that 2-minute mile like 1 minute mile, Jim.
Yeah, and then limo driver turning around.
Oh, of course. Oh, well,
that's the impossible speed. It's like the same thing happened on 9/11 when these jets were flying at an impossible speed.
Yeah, of course. 540 miles an hour.
Yeah. It's very much like Flight 175.
And of course, if you compare the Knicks and the Zapruder film, Jackie is well over, the trunk, okay, in comparison to the Knicks film, at that position. And, remember we did some study here on Clint Hill's hand and we found the sloth hand, which obviously, did not have any digits. Okay, we can't see it right here. Maybe I can zoom in here. Yeah, right here, or maybe go back. We did a study, a couple of years back. In fact, Jim and I published in Veterans Today, and we had a lot of responses on what the so-called sloth hand of Clint Hill, which only showed, a couple of digits, So, a lot of things, anomalies.
And of course, there would have been brains and debris all across the trunk, which they had to remove.
Yeah. But again, here you see that Jackie only goes so far, Jim. And in the next film, she's touching,
right.
Practically touching.
Right. I use that.
Yeah. Well, where they could not synchronize one with the other. I mean, it would have been impossible, obviously,
Well, they did their best.
Yeah, I know. I would have loved to have been the fly on the wall, that weekend over there at Hawkeye Works, where they were trying to, fit this whole thing, this whole scheme together.
I think part of the problem was they were actually changing images in Zapruder, and that would have been extremely difficult to replicate in the Knicks.
Well, also don't forget that the Knicks did not make its appearance until a week later, so they had to.
They had an extra week to mess with it,
and they had to reverse engineer the Knicks, okay, to coincide with the Z. Of course.
Sorry, we're very apologetic. We had to go forward because Larry can't stay. He won't be here for later, so we had to go earlier. And I tried to reach you without.
You know what? I always learn more the second time I watch it. I've watched these shows for the second time. Like we record them, then when I watch it, I learn like 10 times more. So hey, I'm all in, fellas.
Okay, that's good. It's good to have you. I'm glad you could join us.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I know there must be things you want to add.
Yeah, talk about the wheel and the spokes here, right here. I want you to tell us about this right here, the wheel.
Okay. Well, see, now they can show it because it's speeding away. They don't have to, hide anything.
Right.
Why wouldn't that be? It's kind of hard to explain it once. With lenses and the way. I mean, again, when you're filming something, especially if you're an amateur, you're going to keep the main thing in the center of the frame. And now, again, the way things are right now is pretty much, JFK is still in the center of the frame the way a normal person like Zapruder, if he was.
Hey, you can see the blowout right there, of course.
Yeah. So this is he's in the center of the frame, normal framing, whereas during the headshot is anything but a normal frame where it's obviously a prop. But before I forget, another thing, even when I was really young, what I could tell from these things is the convenient editing. Like right at the beginning, when we started this around 153, 154, that's when Towner cuts out. That's and Towner she was right on top of it, and conveniently. Why would someone stop filming when JFK is still pretty much right on top of you? They don't show anything more from the Towner film after that because they couldn't fake that one, but they could fake the Zapruder film because he's still pretty far away and coming towards it. And also the same thing with the Knicks in Mormon film, like they cut away where no one would have have stopped filming. So anyway, that's.
Well, let me find Towner.
So he's saying all of the films were conveniently cut at the right time? Yes.
Well, they made the effort, Gary, but they weren't quite successful.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but Mike was talking about the wheels. They can show it now, but they had to hide the limo stop earlier so that they had to obscure the spinning of the wheels.
The fact that the wheels were not turning would have been
Yeah. So they couldn't show that. That's why the background's out of sync with the limo.
They had to adjust the center of focus.
Yeah,
in a way that no one actually filming it would have done. They would have kept JFK in the center. Mike, go ahead.
And people who were actually there in the supposed to be there in the foreground in the Zapruder film, they had to hide because then they couldn't match it with where they were in other films or shows. Yeah. Oh, this is a bad copy of it. I was just watching a very.
Oh, it's stabilized, supposedly stabilized. Yeah. We can go back.
Yeah.
You want the original? Okay, I'll give you the original. All right, let me pause this over here.
I want to make sure Mike's getting the opportunity to report everything he's found of interest. So
Yeah, he wanted to see the Towner film. That's what I'm giving him right now. You guys see that?
Well, and this is really underexposed as well.
It is, yeah.
There's a cut right there.
You could see the natural color of JFK's hair. But anyway, let's just run. And again, you know, look, they have it, the aftermath, but they stop.
Here it is in slow motion. Here it is. Slow motion.
Yeah, that was a cut right there.
So where would the Croft be? Right around here, right?
Where's the what?
The Croft.
You mean to tell me that they went from that shot to the aftermath in one split second?
that's incredible, isn't it?
Just amazing.
Obviously, there was too much there they had to get rid of, so they just obliterated it.
Oh my!
Jackie's hair here too, as well. You know, look, there's no heavy little lump of hair on her left side.
Right. Her hair looks normal.
Yeah.
Her hair looks natural. But Gary makes a great point. I mean, where the hell is the rest of the event?
Man, to the aftermath from seeing Jackie Kennedy right before the shots. I mean, my God.
Everybody just kind of stopped filming there all at the same time.
That's right. That's right. They just lost interest. They speed it up.
And never mind, we waited all day with our camera, you know, but we'll just catch a piece of it and stop.
And a perfect example is the Bell film. The Bell film, you know, you see this whole thing, and then all of a sudden you only see the aftermath, you know?
Well, show us that one.
The Bell?
Yeah.
I'll give you the Bell.
You know, fellas, I really have to admit, y'all have done such great work on, you know, in the film, the Z film alteration and all that, but it's really not my area of interest as much as other areas, you know, to study the different films and to really analyze them. So I'm just amazed with everything that y'all found.
Let me show you the Bell, and then I'll show you some stills from the Bell, okay? You guys got this? Here it is.
Yeah, hit screen share.
Oops, hold on. Got it. Go. All right. Okay, you see the limo, and then all of a sudden, only the aftermath. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I was saying last week. There's a lot of blacking out between the branches there.
Oh, yeah, and look at the poor quality of this, and I'm going to show you what the Bell film really looked like, okay, from the beginning. I'm going to close this, stop the share, and I want to go and show you guys this. And this is what Jim and I have been presenting this over the years, because it shows the actual tire marks of
the motorcycle cop.
Yeah, the motorcycle cop. Okay. Now, these are images from the Bell. Okay. Now look how.
That's clear.
And they are clear as a bell.
That's right. Okay. Now look at this. This is the Bell. And you've never seen all the frames, but this is what the Bell really looks like. And this is where we found.
There you can see. Yeah, good, Larry.
Yeah, the tire tracks there.
Officer Douglas, Jackson.
There they are. Yeah.
Okay, and then after that, you see Gene Hill going up. Well, you know, we don't have it here, but okay, this is where we did the study on the tire tracks.
That's what grass should look like on film, not what the big green blob that we saw right there.
Good, Mike. Good.
You just see a green blurs on
Yeah,
those.
you see this? See the tire tracks here?
Yeah.
You know? And this is at least, what, a couple of minutes after the assassination, you know?
Right.
So, anyway.
Well, those guys drove up on the lawn there because no shots came from that area.
I know. You know what really got me is that when they interviewed Bob Jackson, and we talked about this, it's on my blog. You know, he said, "Oh, you know, this motorcycle cop. You know, he went up the embankment and he let his bike go, and his bike just went off, you know, by itself. You know."
Yeah, I remember that. They didn't even know what they had said.
Yeah, the president was shot, but yet motorcycle cops are just driving in all random directions.
Right. Yeah. I remember Larry actually walking up the embankment right there where they are, sort of like drawing it out by his hand.
Yeah, you know, Bob Jackson. You know, that's why the 6'4" Museum, you know, shouldn't be interviewing, you know, these witnesses without giving them scripts, because they did the same thing, you know, with Bill Wesley Frazier, and Bill Wesley Frazier said, "Oh, you know, Captain Fritz came in and he wanted me to sign a confession, you know, and him and I almost got into a fight that night." You know?
You got to be careful, man. They might tell you more than they think they're telling you.
Mike, we have less than 10 minutes left. I know you must have things you want to add right now, though we're open to bringing you back again, of course.
Yeah, well, Larry, if you can search on Bing, put Croft photo JFK, and
Which one? Croft?
Croft.
yeah, but use Bing search engine.
He said Croft.
Yeah. Croft photo JFK on Bing.
I showed you guys Croft. Yeah,
No,
we did Croft.
I know, but that's when the Towner film came up. A really, really good version of the Towner film. I just so happened that when I was researching the Croft photo, this Towner, like really good image of the Towner. It's, I don't know what you call it, but it's it has the film there. It's like a meme or something.
Crofts. Okay. Oh, you talk. They have.
I took some screenshots from it for next time, or whenever we do more of a presentation. Again, showing that his arm, his elbow is resting on the limo door, and where his hand is, there's no way that he could have put that in front of his face.
Okay, here's what you're talking about, and we already covered this before, but we'll do it again.
Oh,
Can you guys see this?
That's clear. You can see it.
And we talked about the
13 black witnesses never identified, much less called.
that's right.
Right.
The anomaly here, and Jackie's hair covering JFK's puffed cheeks. There you go. There's a close up. And then I believe this is part of the Towner. Yeah, I think this is what you were talking about.
yeah. For some reason, when I searched Croft photo JFK,
Yeah.
a really good version. It just started playing, in the search engine of the Towner film.
Okay. Yeah. And this is the comparison of Alchins with Croft, which numbers. If you can, I can't zoom in here, but all the African American witnesses and where they are placed in relation to the Alchin 6. Okay. And again, 13 witnesses who were never identified, were never called, and I think that's disgusting, Jim.
Of course. Well, they had control, Larry. They were being quite blatant. They were just suppressing evidence, cutting it, destroying it, altering it,
and Jim,
willy-nilly to make it all fit.
And this is your favorite, Jim, where Art Inspector, I know you talk about this one a lot.
Disproving his own theory.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. This is, this is the one where they number all the African-American witnesses in relation to the Alchin 6 photograph and how the foreshortening.
Yeah, Mike, I got to ask you, we've talked about the Z film a lot. What's your viewpoint on the Alchin 6? How do we talk about that?
Oh, I'm right with you guys all the way. I remember watching the first show and really getting into it. I'm just amazed that they didn't, and I think this says something about what was going on, that they didn't, at first, before Larry did the overlays, I thought they took Lovelady's face and pasted it over Lee's face. It kind of looked like that to me. And I'm like, if you're going to do all these other alterations,
right?
Why not do that? I mean, But going back to the timeline of the Alton 6, when it was sent to the presses is still something. Is whether they were going to go with Lee as the patsy or not. They still had a lot of people locked up. They had Jack Lawrence locked up. They had Frazier locked up, and I think somewhere I think they might have still had Harrelson and
Joe Molina, Billy Lovelady. With the gun.
Must have let George Bush go by now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty incredible that all those guys are there on the same spot.
I think the gist of all this is that pretty much people are accepting the fact that it's Lee in the Doorway based on the overlays.
Yeah.
Unless you're a big shill.
Yeah.
I think this is one that they got away. I mean, why black out the Emery Roberts talking to the mic? I mean, and some other stuff. Like I say, I don't think things went perfectly that day. Things did not go the way they planned, and some things got past them. I just why not black out?
And when they didn't kill Lee Oswald in the theater, that's when things really went wrong.
Yeah, what I always wonder is how many other photographs of Lee in the Doorway existed before the FBI camped out at every photo processing lab in Dallas and, just collected them and said, hey, this is proof here, this is evidence, and we want it, and, goodbye, see you later.
Everyone was trying to help, and they thought they were helping, but actually,
they were being played.
So if people had, the ability to develop their own film, where would they take it? Where would they take it if they did develop them themselves? They had people camped out at the news stations and newspapers and everything. But that's another show is the multiple patsies and what this says about that day, because they had Plan B, C, D. That's what I've been working on for the most part.
Joe Molina, he was a patsy, possible.
No, and Mike has some very interesting. Has been doing some very interesting work on the multiple patsy angle, especially Mexico City, and Richard K. Snagel, and other things that he's been working on. And
so would this be good for the next show? Would you be up for that, Mike?
Because it's a project in
a work in progress.
Yeah, a work in progress.
There's a lot of work. If I pan the camera over to the left there, you'd see a mountain of papers, and also over there, and books I've gone through, and that's the real basis of my project.
At least we can talk about Thomas Arthur Valley, and how the Chicago plot was so intertwined with the Dallas. Okay, in the sense that everything seemed to be, from the same blueprint. What do you think of that?
Yeah, both had fair play for Cuba Committee cards, and oh man, they're and the guy from the patsy from the downtown
motorcade routes and stuff like that.
Oh, I mean, that Valley worked in a building about the same size as the TSBD. That was on a curve that was at the same 180-degree curve that was on the way from the airport to the football game where he was going.
Yeah, there were plots in Miami, and I heard Wisconsin too.
We started out at a little past a quarter after. We're at a quarter after again, so we've done a 1-hour show. Gary, I know. You wanna take us out, Mike? We want to have you back. We want to have you back again next week.
I'm not planning anything for Wednesdays. I already told the ladies.
Harry, what happened to you, man?
Hey, Mike, congratulations, Mike. You're now a conspiracy theorist.
Hey, we have no egos here at JFK. We're just looking for the truth. All right.
No egos to bruise. No egos to bruise.
There you go. All right. Y'all got the number right. JFK 207. We'll see you next week, Mike. Might have to put you on the beginning, when we have our intro. All right, man. Talk to you later.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade.
That's what we were told. Most Americans never believed Lee Oswald was the lone gunman, for excellent reasons. In fact, there were at least 6 shooters who fired from 8 to 10 shots or more who are identified here. We have, finally, the solution to the greatest murder mystery in history, laid out for the world to see, proof after proof after proof. Photos were faked, the body was changed, x-rays were altered, the home movies were fixed. 15 experts contribute to a 529-page book with 1,037 photos and diagrams in black and white and color.
Hi, this is Gary King. If you'd like JFK, who, how, and why, and would like to support the new JFK show, then go to patriotradiobooks.com. That's patriotradiobooks.com.